Welcome to the Steam Channel. In this product spotlight, we'll be taking a look at the newly tooled HO scale Broadway Limited GS4 Daylight number 4442. This locomotive and tender are die-cast and come with Paragon 4 sound from Broadway Limited Imports. I was elated to see that Broadway returned to the two-piece laminate box for the GS4 release, and that the blister packaging for this locomotive was very well put together. Inside the plastic sleeve, there is a hard plastic base with studs that the engine and tender sit on to securely hold them in place. This was a really nice feature as the GS4 is a heavy locomotive. These daylights feature a heavy die-cast boiler, tender body, and chassis for maximum tractive effort. The engine is powered by a 5-pole can motor with a shoe-wound armature with a precision drive mechanism for continuous heavy load towing and smooth, slow-speed operation. The Southern Pacific purchased a total of 28 General Service 4, or GS4 locomotives from the Lima Locomotive Works, which ranged from 4430 to 4457. The GS4s were similar to the GS3 class Northern, however the GS4s had a dual headlight casing, the top light being a Mars light. The GS4s also had an enclosed all-weather cab. These Northerns were designed for passenger service and were tasked with pulling Southern Pacific's premier passenger trains, including the Coast Daylight, Lark, Cascade, Gold State, and the Sunset Limited. Broadway's latest rendition of the GS4 is a showstopper. We'll start up at the iconic smoke box door of this Northern. The class lights can be seen mounted just beneath the lighted number boards. You can see the dual headlight casing. The top light is a Mars light and the lower light is a normal headlight. There is nice hinge and smoke box dog detail around the smoke box. If you look closely, you'll notice that there's actually two sets of door hinges on the smoke box. The outer hinges are on the right side of the model and the inner hinges are on the left. Around the bottom of the smoke box door, you'll see a handrail and the staircases leading down to the pilot area of the locomotive. The tread plate, mesh, and number board detailing look great here. There's also great hose, coupler cut lever, and coupler pocket detailing. The striping on the pilot is crisp, and the paint looks great on the model. Up top, you can see the unique stack profile and get a better view of the lighted number boards. The engine has builder's plates and superheater plates that you'd expect of a model of this grade, but we recommend grabbing a magnifying glass if you'd like to read the text on these plates. Sweeping down the boiler, you can take in the piping detail, the throttle linkage, the handrails, the boiler washout plugs, and the detail on the skyline casing. You can see a lot of the rivet detail on the skyline casing itself, along with separately applied safety valves, whistle, and steam generators. The running gear on this engine looks great. The pilot truck framing is visible along with the brake rigging detail. The rods and valve gear also look good on the engine. I'm always a sucker for the Walsher's valve gear. The box pock drivers are sharp with nice counterweight detail, and the axle ends are blackened with the stars painted on the axle ends. You'll notice all the wheels on this 484 have white walls. Around the trailing truck, you can see the blowdown piping along with the injector diffuser directly underneath the cab. The stay-bolt detail can be seen in the firebox side sheets, and the trailing truck itself is pretty sharp. You can see the brake cylinder and brake linkage detail, the unique journal box covers for the truck, the heart rockers, and the spoke trailing truck wheels. As we move up to the cab, you can spot the crooked cab ladders, a staple of this locomotive class. In the video, it looks like the paint ran a bit around the cab window framing, but this is a trick of the camera. I doubled back after we filmed this and looked over this area and wasn't able to pick any of this up. There's also a little dirt visible on the cab door, but this wiped right off. I just didn't catch this before we started filming. Next to the door, you can see the cab window, sunshade, and engineer figure. On the top of the cab, the dual vents are visible, along with a walkway section that allows access to the tender. My estimated guess is that there would have been a ladder within the cab for the crew to climb out the rear vent hatch and climb down onto the walkway to access the tender. As a Northern junkie, the GS4 has always been one of my favorite engines. If you're a regular viewer, you may have picked up on that with our heavy coverage of Daylight 4454 at the Illinois Live Steamers. Overall, I think Broadway did a great job recreating this iconic engine. The tender for this locomotive is just as nice. The Buckeye trucks are gorgeous, and the brake rigging and brake cylinder details on the trucks really make these trucks look realistic. It brings me back to the steaming bays at ILS. In this pan, you can see the rivet detailing over the tender body, along with the tender ladders, and the fine Southern Pacific lettering on the tender body. On the top of the tender, you can see the plank walkway, water and oil fill hatches, grab irons, handrails, and piping detail. The rear tender end sill has nice hose, grab iron, coupler cut lever, and piping detail. As we pan up, you can see the tender directional light and the tender marker lights with plumbing and junction boxes. The tender rounds out an overall nice model from Broadway. Our friends at Trainworld have these Northerns in stock for $559. We purchase most of our trains from Trainworld and are always pleased with their service and quick shipping. Let's get this GS4 on the review module and test out its sound features. We'll start with the whistle and the bell. Broadway Limited recently announced their Conductors Club, which is a paid membership that offers hobbyists special perks. One perk is access to a heavily discounted model each year. Broadway Limited recently announced that the Late Challenger will be offered an HO scale, and the Big Boy will be offered an N scale. The pricing for this club is $29 per year. You can find more information on the club on Broadway Limited's website. We'd like to thank our friends at Broadway Limited Imports for sponsoring this product spotlight here on the Steam Channel. Until next time, we'll catch you on the rails.
Thanks for tuning in for this model train product review here on the Steam Channel. Get another high quality look at a new model by clicking on a video preview to your right.